Ghaith Sankari is a deep learning engineer and AI specialist. He has AI and NLP bachelor's degree from the University of Aleppo in Syria, where he finished computer science in 2008. In 2010, he moved to Abu Dhabi to work with one of the leading hospitals. He has 10 years of experience in the healthcare sector and hands-on executive data science projects and research. He was part of a testing team for AI for Medicine specialization on Coursera, and he is a mentor for the same specialization. He is also a mentor for many studies and research groups at the University of Birmingham, RIT Dubai, and KIE University in Syria, and others. So I would like to invite Ghaith to take over the screen and lead the presentation.
First, when we are talking about AI in healthcare, nowadays you can find that AI is going to everywhere. So you find that there is a kind of pandemic of AI in the world. Everything, even in the arts, you can find the AI is there. But when we are talking about AI for healthcare, this is very critical. So according to that, we have to be sure about what we are doing. It's not easy to penetrate this kind of this sector, which is the healthcare with AI. And even the most important problem for this is the trust from the, let's say, healthcare authorities and community. So, but there is a good steps happened in the world. There is something important appeared, and yes, this trust it start to be built. And right now, it's our task, all of us who's working on this field, just to make it better and to enhance the product coming from this sector, from AI to help the healthcare. So in AI for medicine, just to see the general categorization for this, we can find that most of the categorization focus on medical diagnosis, which is diagnosis models that using imaging or NLP application to diagnose some medicine or something similar to that, or medical prognosis. And in fact, the medical prognosis, I found it's the future. But currently, especially in the couple few months back, during the pandemic of Corona, nobody focused on the medical prognosis. Everybody is looking for something on diagnosis or on a treatment, or in the fourth category, which is the drug discovery. But the prognosis, it's something that helps you to normalize your dealing with any kind of pandemic. No, prognosis easily just to create kind of prediction or to understand either this disease, just like the heart attack or something, it will be back again to the patient within a period or not. What is the death rate? What is the survival rate? And what is the rate or the possibility to have this attack or this disease once again, for example. So the prognosis is the future. In fact, right now, everybody is understanding the importance of the medical prognosis. And if we have AI to give us better medical prognosis, really, it will be great. And the third one, it's the AI for medical treatment. And in fact, the medical treatment is focusing on what kind of processes is happening when you are testing a new treatment or new procedure or new medicine, for example. And this kind of AI, how it will help to just cover the missing data by prediction. Most important, maybe the most important part of the AI or the machine learning, it's the ability to predict. So the ability to predict, it will help you to cover the missing data in case of your control group or medical group, which is the testing group or control group, they are missing. The details of this, you can find it on the AI for medicine specialization on Coursera right now. And in fact, it's 3 courses, AI for medical diagnosis and AI for medical prognosis and AI for medical treatment. But from my point of view for this speech, I want to tell you how these courses or how these fields, these categories can impact to the real world. This is what I'm trying to focus. So in real world, it's not only dealing with research. We need products and we need to improve the products to be able to be used real. So in fact, the products or the services will have a value in the real world if it's meet the following targets. Either it has to reduce the healthcare cost and the performance time. This is great benefit. At the end, healthcare, okay, it's very noble things we have to think about it, but at the end, it's a business. So if you didn't help the healthcare provider, healthcare service provider, and the patient by reducing the cost and make the performance time shorter, so you didn't add real value. The second way is to make the revenue cycle for the healthcare service provider faster and more accurate. This is also essential thing. If the revenue cycle, the income, it's not reached at the time, especially for the countries that they have a solid and robust insurance, medical insurance system. For example, here in UAE, in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and I'm sure in Canada also the same, in USA it has the same. In this case, when the insured money will be paid to the insurance provider, to the healthcare provider, it's very important. And any delay in this process or any mistake in this process, it will be a disaster for them. So according to that, if we use AI to do something on this field, also we add a real value in the healthcare sector. And the third one is if we are able to enhance the quality of healthcare workers, physicians, nurses, anybody related to cleaning processes, to sterilizing processing, all of this, if we are able to enhance the quality of them using AI, also it will be great. Right now, I'm going to show some use cases related to these three fields. Some of them, me, myself, and my team in our AIHut.com company work on them. And some of them, it's something that happened around the world. But I choose to show my work not as a kind of promotion. It's more of a kind of, let's say, have a live example that this is something I work on. So when I receive a question, I will be able to answer clearly. So just let's get to reduce the healthcare cost and the performance time. One of the examples which has happened performed by Landing AI. Landing AI is one of the companies of Professor Andrew Ng, which is the owner of the Coursera also and Deep Learning.ai. They just suggest a process or AI model to maintain the social distancing. Okay, this thing, I can find it, it's emergency solution that to help the people, just to remind the people that you might be affected by this person because this person at the end, he find that he has COVID or something similar. But, and really it's helped to maintain the social distancing. But in fact, I have some objection about this kind of system. I will give you, let's say, dummy example. What happened if the infection is not coming from the breath or sneezing or according to that, if it's coming from the baby's diaper, for example, how this kind of model it will help. In fact, I'm afraid that this kind of application, it will be used to monitor the people and to add more restriction on them. Especially, I'm not talking about, there is some kind of countries, you know, I'm coming from Syria and I know about my country. So to add more monitoring to the people, not only for their health, it's, let's say, breaking their freedom, some kind of. So in fact, this kind, it's good as an emergency solution, but I didn't find it will add a real value in the future. What will add a real value in the future, and it can be used and it can help to normalize the dealing with any disease. For example, with Corona. When this Corona will be solved, either we have a vaccine and everybody will be able to fight this disease, or we have to normalize the dealing to create new processes that will help us as a society to, okay, it's not a big deal if we have infection, we are able to solve it and to perform the suitable treatment to the patient. So one of them, it's the medical radiography imaging, using the medical, which is, in fact, it's coming under medical diagnosis. So there is a lot of research happened around the world that's suggesting to use CT scan, for example, just to detect COVID infection from the CT scan using AI. Why using AI? Because it's able to the radiologist to understand that there is a pneumonia, for example. But what kind of pneumonia is there? It's not easy to differentiate the patterns for the bacterial pneumonia or the SARS, for example, or the SARS-2, which is COVID. So AI, it will help us. We are trying to trust the mathematics to find a way to differentiate these patterns. And according to that, we will suggest, no, this is COVID-19 infection, or this is SARS infection, or something similar. And other researches has happened using X-rays. And in fact, the X-ray is, from my point of view, CT scan is easier and more accurate, but the X-ray is more important because the X-ray, it's cheaper. And right now, in fact, I did my part on this. I developed with my team a model using X-ray to detect COVID-19 infection. And we name it COVID AI. And in fact, this is the main product for our company. And right now we have some communication to Dubai Health Authority. Once we get the approval, we will have more research about this to make it ready for to be used in the hospital. So in fact, the structure, first, from where this idea comes in the beginning, it comes maybe the first or one of the starter who's working on that. It was Linda Wang from Waterloo University in Canada. They published a paper suggesting a new structure. They name it COVIDNet. It's kind of similar to ResNet structure or Inception structure, just to detect the COVID. And they arranged to the accuracy of 96%. We got this, but we find that ResNet 50, it's giving more better performance for that. So we used the ResNet 50. I'm not going to mention this presentation. I will share it with Dragos and he will be able to share it with everybody. I'm not going to go in details deeply unless I get a question to will ask me about going to the details. But this is how the residual block it's appeared, and in fact this block it will be repeated 84 times with 2 fully connected layers and softmax at the end. So I use the ResNet and make some techniques just to raise the accuracy to get better results for the COVID. And in fact, the ResNet, it's very deep neural networks, in fact. And there's also other edition, which is ResNet 101. So in fact, there is also deeper. But ResNet, it was better, it make better performance than COVIDNet suggested by Linda Wang. The good about Linda Wang work, it's, in fact, the project is still open. And you can find it on GitHub. And also they are planning to work on medical prognosis and also to work on CT scans. But for sure, they have some difficulties related to the data set. So in the COVID AI, which is our product on AI Hat, in fact, we have, I'm just going to pass it to make it faster. We have 8,000 non-COVID image and 650 COVID images. So in fact, the data is imbalanced. And according to that, today we have multiple diseases there, but we choose to make it as COVID and non-COVID. So the classification, it will be either COVID or non-COVID. There is a reason behind that, because we need to raise the sensitivity and raise the NPV, negative predicted value, for this model. So in fact, we have a philosophy behind this. We are just trying to tell the patient or to tell the physician, if the system or the model give you a non-COVID, you have to be sure it's non-COVID. But if it give you a COVID or positive predicted value, so you have to choose another way to test this, because sometimes some mistake might appear on the positive, but in the negative, it will never appear. So this was our philosophy. According to that, we have to raise the sensitivity and to raise the negative predicted value. Since you are planning for a study group, if anybody wants to understand what is the sensitivity and negative predicted value, he can find it on the course AI for Medical Diagnosis. And also, I will explain a little bit about it after finishing the presentation if somebody asks me about this. So in fact, we get a very good result. The total accuracy, it was 98%, which is really good. really good. I think until now, I didn't find that there is research give this kind of accuracy with sensitivity of 99%. There is for COVID. We are talking about COVID sensitivity. So there is other research. It's get also great results, but it was trying to make the classification over 3 or 4 classes. So there is some, let's say, misunderstanding will happen. Either it's pneumonia or COVID pneumonia or something similar. We make it easier, COVID or non-COVID at the end. So this one, all what we see, but everything related to COVID AI, in the AI and medical diagnosis course, you can find it and learn how to do something similar and learn how to, let's say, to prepare the data set, to resample the data set, to make the data set balanced, all of these concepts to use, for example, the weighted cost functions, all of this, we can find it on the medical diagnosis, and the assignment there also, it will help you a lot to understand exactly and to go to the practical work for this. So in fact, it's not only something theoretical, no, you can go on the practical after the course. So really, since I'm talking about this because I was in the testing group for the course, and also I'm still mentor for this course. So another example is the diagnostic chatbot. In fact, which is using NLP application. So in fact, this is not something new. This is something right now, it's more than 7 years started. And we have some examples related to that. One of them is called One Remission, which is a New York-based company. It's launched a chatbot to aim to help to ease the life who was suffering from the cancer. So, and suggest some procedures for them, or suggest to visit the doctor according to the information collected from this, and using the chatbot. Another one, it's Uber. Uber, in fact, they are trying to, during the conversation with the patient, just to, let's say, raise the emotional or help them to pass the bad time. So it's really funny idea that, okay, you have some chatbot application that will help you. You will tell him that what you are suffering, and he will answer you just to give you better feelings. So it's really good idea. And the third one, it's Safe Drug Bot. Safe Drug Bot, in fact, this one, it's started from real need. There is one doctor asked a company, just if you are able to tell me or to predict, according to some information, what kind of drugs used during the breastfeeding by mother. So, and in fact, they really create this model, and right now it's on the market. It's coming from real need for the doctor. So according to some information, they will tell you that what drug is used during the breastfeeding, and also to suggest how to solve any issues it's appeared according to that, or to make better suggestion for other cases. And also the great example for this is the Babylon Health, which is the chatbot started from 2013. Right now, the value of this application, or of this company, or of this application, it's 2 billion. So in fact, they are already there, and they are suggesting a lot of solutions, and also it's used widely for some organizations. According to that, let's go to the other part. Right now, we check how we are. Okay, quickly, why we use the X-ray. I'm just back to this, sorry. Why we use the X-ray. The X-ray, there is clear reason for that. In fact, I remember that I mentioned this. The X-ray, first, it's cheaper. It's the cheaper way to get diagnosis. If we are really trust the X-ray. Right now, the PCR, the common PCR, which is used here in Dubai, or in many countries, in all countries, in fact, the cost, it's around $100 US. For X-ray, you can do it with $10 US. So it's very cheap technology. It's very spread technology. That means you don't have to prepare diagnostic center, full diagnostic center to do that. You can just, with some kind of protocols, You can tell all the X-ray labs to be able to just use the system and go as a diagnostic model for COVID. Also, this is another way. So we will let everybody able to go and test, retest. It will be easy since it's not cost a lot. You have to think not only about the insured patient. You have to think with countries that they don't have the ability really to pay this amount. For I will tell you one example. It's 100 US dollars. For other countries, it's around. Um, it's a full wealth for them. So if the X-ray is there, it will help a lot. So faster also, the PCR, it will need, according to the line coming right now, it will need at least 24 hours to get the result. For the X-ray, within a second, with the model, X-ray with our model or any other model. I'm not talking about our model only. So the idea, it's really great because really it will help you to normalize the dealing with the disease, with the COVID disease. So back again to the next topic that I would like to mention it, which is make the revenue cycle faster. And the revenue cycle here, it's in fact to mention it, to speak about it in better way, we have to think about the health insurance process first and the hospital management system in the second. First, if we are able to provide, in Saudi Arabia, the costs, Motaz, by the way, Motaz, who's asking right now, is my friend from the university, from Syria. And right now he is in Saudi Arabia. He told us the cost is around 400 USD. Okay, just I make comment on this because he's my friend. In fact, the cost in UAE, it was the same, but right now they changed their mind and they they reduce by the government. They ask them to reduce this cost because they want to make more testing. Okay. Now the hospital management system, what we are doing, what AI will do in this. So let's start with first, what is the medical records metrics? What is the medical records or electronic medical records? The medical records, it will deal with the documentation of the patient information. It will deal with the inpatient and managing the inpatient cases. That mean when he is accepted admission, when he got the admission, what kind of procedures happened to the inpatient. That mean who's treated inside the hospital, and what kind of let's say what is the discharge type for him. Either he is go in a good way or he is transferred to another hospital or something similar. The visits, which is the outpatient, which is coming to the polyclinic or to the clinic just to do some procedures or for normal check, or also the ambulance and the emergency room. It's under the visits or the outpatient situation. All of this information, it's stored in the medical records. Either also there is the outpatient. Okay, right now, because there is another kind of the outpatient, which is not in the emergency or in the ambulance. It's who's coming for routine testing or routine check. Okay, the diagnostic tests, which is the lab and radiology, the laboratory and radiology department, it will be also archived on the medical records. The charge, like, okay, right now we are differentiating between both of them, the radiology and the lab, and also the business record centers, which is the medical records, release of information. In fact, this is something related to organizing the business of the hospitals or clinics in general. Right now, since we are dealing with insured patient, which is, for example, here in UAE, it's 80% of the patient, they are insured. So the hospital to speak the same language of the insurance company, they are using the medical coding. Sometimes we'll start with the ICD, which is the code for the disease, the diagnosis, how it will be coded. It's one code for each disease, and will tell you that once this comes to the insurance company, they understand this is the disease of the patient. For example, the patient has 3 diseases or 3 codes, 3 diagnosis codes, and then they perform 4 procedures to solve this issue for him, for example. So it will come, all these 3 diagnoses with the 4 procedures, it will go to the insurance company to No, the wish visit, in fact, it's kind of appointments that they will ask you that we need to visit at that time with this doctor. It's kind of wish, and after this is how we deal with it. Maybe the wish term itself is used in another way, but here, which is in our hospitals here in UAE, wish visit it will be kind of appointment, and also there is another kind of AI model that used to enhance the wish visits. We are coming to tell you about this question by Abita. I think Abita Vigi. I wish I mentioned the name in the correct way. Okay, so the other coding method, it's the CBT. The CBT code, it's used just to code the procedure, the medical procedure. There's a disease and the procedure done by the doctor or medication prescribed by the doctor. So the CBT, it's just kind of coding for the procedure. Also, there is kind of a clinical term which is SNOMED, which is also used, but in UAE it's not used. And in the AI for medical diagnosis course, you can find some just some lectures to tell you how to deal with the SNOMED CT coding and how to extract the information from it. In fact, it's not giving a diagnostic description for the case of the patient. It's giving the, let's say, procedural prescription for the visit. Also, in most of the countries that using insurance law, for example, they have insurance law, they will code the acceptance and denial codes. So each time that the insurance company will deny something, they will use a denial code to describe it. And drugs also and medication that allowed to be used in this country, it will be also coded. For sure, the facilities itself, the hospitals and the insurance company. So all of these codes, it's there in the medical records or in electronic health records that managing the health system in the country or in the state. But since it's there, that means we have to learn how to deal with it and extract the information from it to use it for our AI models. So in fact, using the codes, it will be easier than extracting the information from, let's say, doctor report or radiologist report, because that time we have to use NLP, full NLP model, just to extract the labels or the information from it. Since it's coded, we have information already, but we have to understand the techniques how to use it. So for the wish visits, let's back to that. There is one company here in Abu Dhabi. They just create a product will predict if the patient that booked the appointment, he will appear on the time or not, according to some income, to some input that will go to the model. It's AI model used for this. And in fact, there is some hospitals start to use it because sometimes they will book the same time slot for two patients, since there is one is not expected to appear on the time. So this one of the method, the company name is SAAL.ai. In fact, it's based in Abu Dhabi in UAE. Another example for that helping on hospital management, which is appeared on Spain. My friend, he is also mentor in the specialization, Ignacio Martinez Serrano. In fact, Ignacio, what he suggests, because he is working for Murcia General Hospital in Spain, so he creates a model just to tell him that at that date, at that time, the hospital capacity, it will be 0. The hospital will be full, and you will be able to open after, for example, 1 week or 3 days for 2 more patients and something similar. So each time he will just predicting when he is able to receive more patients according to what's happened to the COVID. And you know, Spain is one of the countries that suffered a lot from the peak time on the COVID. So this is also on the hospital management. We have 2 examples about this. You can visit, you can, Ignacio talked about this in the community event for deep learning.ai for AI for medicine. So anybody join to the Slack channel of deep learning.ai, since he's start study the specialization, he can find his video on the Slack channel. I think the event, it was on the late of May. He explained exactly how he performed it. And the revenue cycle, I'm going to talk about our product also on AI Health. Mr. Bavia, what is the Slack channel name? In fact, this is something you cannot also, when you join the, I don't know if Dragos has the name really. Right now, I'm unable to tell you about it because it's not in mine. But when you join the course on Coursera, you will get, you can find it on the course information already. Sorry, I'm trying to answer each and every question, but if I prefer just to mention that I have a question, maybe after I finish, I will ask you all to ask your question. The presentation, 10 minutes, it will be finished. Okay, now the Diviner, it's one product that we use it just to predict the medical claim are going to be paid or not by the insurance company. Why we need to predict this? Because the claim once here, for example, in UAE, once the hospital submits the claim, he has to wait 45 days as a maximum. It can be less, but it cannot be more by law, just to receive the remittance advice or the answer of the insurance company. And if it's rejected, the hospital has to resubmit it with more evidence about the case, and it might be paid, but once he resubmits, there is another 45 days it will be done. So the case that discharged for today, for example, I might get the money as a hospital after 90 days, for example. So when we have a clear prediction that this claim is going to be approved or rejected, this will be big help for the hospital, because managing the revenue cycle of the hospital, in fact, it's managing the income. It's the most important part from the managerial point of view, not from the health point of view. The average rejection for the healthcare claims in UAE, it's 20%. This is the fact number one. The fact number two, the pharmacy limit of benefits from medications, it's 20%. So for example, if the pharmacy, they didn't manage their claims in correct way, they will be unable to gain anything. Okay, they will pay from their own buckets. Rejection can be for medical and managerial reason. The medical reason, it's drug-to-drug interaction, for example, or no medical necessity for one procedure, or of this rejection way, which is already coded here in our EHR system in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. It's already coded, so we have codes for this. And managerial reason, just the limit of the insurance is consumed, for example. So we are not focusing on the managerial reasons. We want to, for the medical reason, we want to tell the physician once he makes the documentation for the visit that either he is going to be paid for this diagnosis and CBTs or procedures that he performed or not. So when we tell him, he is able to solve the error that he made or solve the mistake that he made. Okay, and also the system can be used by the regulators of the health authorities or Ministry of Health or any kind of regulator, because sometimes the insurance company will try to delay the payment, so they will send rejection without reason. Okay, if they have this system with them, they will tell them there is unexpected rejection, for example, or unexpected approval. So also it will help to make better and more accurate management for the health records on the state level. Okay, our system Diviner is built on the healthcare standards of Abu Dhabi Health Authority, which is using ICD for the diagnosis, CBT for procedures, and they have their own coding method for the denial reason or for the rejections, and for everything is coded here at the end. Now, I'm not going to explain what is the claim process. In fact, I'm added to the presentation just to tell you, anybody, I will send the presentation to you so you can check it later to understand where to add it. At the end, there is a claim, it will be posted, will be submitted to the insurance company. Within 45 days, the insurance company will submit the remittance advice to tell them that either this claim is going to be paid or not. If it's not, there is a rejection reason, it will be there. And there is a broker between the insurance provider and the service provider, which is the electronic health record for the state, which is the regulator or the health authority that managing the health sector on this state. Now, where's the diviner? It will come before submitting to the health records. After finishing the documentation, the diviner will tell you this procedure might be rejected for this reason, or this procedure might be rejected from this reason. We build the 3 models from this. The basic one, it will tell you over the overall claim, either it will be approved or not. Here's the basic structure of the network. It was kind of CNN network, and there is a lot of embedding on it. Then we found, no, it's not enough, because we want to understand either for each procedure, not for all of the claim, for each procedure, what is going to be paid or not. For each procedure, either it will be going to be paid or not. So we go for the first model. It was the accuracy is 98%, and it was with the help of Redkite, which is company in Armenia, Redkite Armenia. It was shared work between us and them, and I thank this company each time I speak about this product, because they helped me to make one of my dreams, because I start working on this since I was on the hospital, on the clinic hospital. That means it's on 2013. But until 2020, until it's when I work with Redkite together, until it comes to it's become a real product. The second way, since we want each and every procedure to check either it will be approved or not, we used bidirectional RNN model, and we train it for more than 500,000 claims, which is, it will reach until this 500,000 claim, it will reach to 1.5 million of procedures. So the rejected for this structure, it will give us rejection on the activity level, and the final input can affect it. Since it's bidirectional, the final input, it will affect the first input results and vice versa, which is very important also. And the input, it will be the list of the diagnosis, procedures, some patient information, just like age and gender, because this can affect the medical rejection. Okay, and the accuracy for this model, it was 98%, which is very great for the hospitals to tell them 98. We are 98% sure that this claim or this activity are going to reject it or to be approved. It's very good. Included patient information is okay. That's one. Now the third topic we are going to speak about, it's enhancing the quality of the healthcare worker. We have 2 examples here. Also, you can find this on the Slack channel, because it's each one it's used in one of the events. The first one is by Dr. Roger Smith, the AutoML. AutoML, it's just kind of let's say evaluating the performance of the surgeons during the learning process. Either they are good when they are using the surgeon robots, the surgical robots, they are good in using it or not. Okay, this is very important. Usually they make videos, and these videos are evaluated by another expert, doctors or surgeons. Okay, he built a model just trying to evaluate the performance of the surgeons, the trainers, according to the videos that they are providing. It's still research. He is just showing the ability, but in fact, the idea is very great, because if you are able to monitor that and evaluate the trainer for this, you are able to, for example, to monitor them for another sectors. For example, right now there is a need for the nursing, just to collect the swab samples and do the whole procedure in a safe way and all of this. So such a model right now, which is performed by Dr. Roger Smith, it can be rebuilt and retrained for that task, for example, and it will help us again to normalize the dealing with the diseases, which is my target, in fact, in my company and in my current work. And the second example for enhancing the quality of healthcare worker is just to help them, which is performed by Dr. Janjit Swensler. He's from Netherlands. He used the mobile phone to collected information by mobile phone to predict that if the patient needs some urgent or planned medical procedures. In fact, this is very important because sometimes for the people who is expected to have a heart attack, for example, the mobile can tell them you have to go to the hospital immediately. So this is really, he might go to the hospital using his own car, he is driving, and then when he reaches the hospital, he will get the treatment needed, for example. And this is really great idea also. There is some samples performed by Janjit. In fact, also you can find it on the Slack channel on for the courses. And Janjit has worked a lot on this since he was working for a company that focusing on personal healthcare. That means using the mobile phone and other, let's say, sensors to collect information. They can guide the patient for the healthy lifestyle and all of these things. So also it's a good example about this. Thank you for hearing me. I hope it wasn't a long speech. I tried to mention a lot of use cases and something that we found it during our study for this specialization on deep learning or during the work. I'm open for any question. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ghaith. Very nice presentation. So right now, as discussed at the beginning, please send a message with I have a question, and maybe I'll call your name and then you can unmute or maybe start the video as well to make it more interesting. And then you can ask the question with voice, okay? Okay, so we had a question from, let me also start the video. So I set an example. We had a question from Babia about the Slack channel. I assume you're asking about the Slack channel we'll be using for our study group. I'll send an email with all the details about the Slack group and also other things. So you can join like that. Okay, so then we have Isai. If you can unmute yourself and then ask your question.
Okay, hi. I want to ask about, I'm really interested to develop a object detection model for recognize disease on eyes, but I want to try, or my doubt is how good could be to use generative adversarial neural networks to use it as a sample for the data set in order to train my neural network.
Sorry, I didn't hear you in the correct way. Your voice wasn't clear for me. So can you repeat the question, or if it's easier for you, if you are able to write it?
Okay, well, okay, I could repeat it. I want to train a neural network in order to recognize disease on eyes from photographs of the eye with disease, but I wanted to implement generative adversarial neural networks to make a data set in order to train that neural network.
I will repeat my question in my way. So just tell me if I'm correct or not. You are trying to train a neural network using a photograph data set. but you need more data. So you are suggesting to use another neural network, for example, to generate this data, and then you are going to use it for the original one.
Yeah.
I'm correct?
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, I played this game one time. I'm not going to tell you about the photograph. It was right now you can see on the community of AI in the world, there is a huge boom for the GANs networks, which is doing something similar to what you want. GANs, it will help you to generate new samples that matching the original samples. And it can be used, for example, one of the examples is the style transfer, which is you are able to draw one picture using the style of another picture, using the color style. So this kind of process, in fact, and again, it has better processes, in fact, to do that. It, I was forced to do something similar, and I didn't use it for the training yet. For the COVID, for the X-ray of COVID, because I have less amount of X-ray images for COVID patients, but I have more images related to the healthy patients. Healthy, they don't have COVID. So I'm just trying to use the first one as a style, which is the COVID pictures as a style, and then let's say use the GANs network to copy this style to another image and generate more samples. This works for me, okay? But I have to tell you something. This, it will help to imbalance the data, but it will not help you to cover all the expected patterns of the disease. So this is from my point of view. When you are talking about photograph, I don't know how to deal with the photograph. For example, maybe you are looking for a sneezing photograph. It might help, but you have to try it. You don't have to. Okay, it's interesting. The idea itself is interesting. Okay. Also, I can suggest for you something. Another thing to use is the genetic algorithm. If you have background about it, it will help you, genetic algorithm, to generate new images that matching, let's say, the original photograph that you want. I hope this is answer you. I'm not going to tell you that this is will not work for you. I'm tell you this is a promising process, but it will not cover all the accepted patterns or the expected patterns for one disease. Okay, it depends on the disease and on the process that you are suggesting. At the end, you might, sorry, just a joke, you might look for just like one of my friends tell me, you can predict the COVID infection from the color of the shirt. But at the end, this is wrong data set. So it's up to the process that you are suggesting.
Okay. Well, I just want to know if I use gangs, that there could be a little chance to make a bias.
Yes,
Eh,
exactly. Okay, GANs, but also that's why I mentioned the genetic algorithm. In fact,
okay.
genetic algorithm, it's better than GANs when it's related to the bias, because the GANs at the end, there is a set of training data set or the training models that are used to generate the new image, which is the example, the famous example right now, which is when you are passing Obama image, you will find a white person at the end. Okay, this has happened on the GANs, but in the genetic algorithm, it will not happen. But genetic algorithm, you have to, in fact, the bad thing about genetic algorithm, you need ages to train it. So this is why, and during the last week, I make speech for one group. It's about how to create faster model for genetic algorithm using the RNN. It's not something I did, it's something I'm trying to work on it. It's not ready yet, but it was just sharing the idea because they was from the University of Lahore in Pakistan, and they have fresh minds. So I found it suitable to tell them that this idea will work, just to make the genetic algorithm faster by using the RNN.
Do you think what?
Sorry?
How Could you repeat how could you make a faster genetic algorithm?
Using RNN, recurrent neural networks.
Ah, okay. Recurrent. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another questions for 310100. Do you want to ask it as well? Do you want to unmute yourself?
Okay. If he want to ask the question, he mentioned the question already.
Okay.
So the question, it was, as a company, how would you make money of this model? Okay, first you have to tell me what is the model. Because from my company, I discussed two models here. The first one is related to COVID, the other one is related to the insurance. I will answer for both. Okay, for the COVID, easy to tell you that if the model is it's approved, accredited, and it's ready to be used, for sure we are not going to give it to the hospitals for free. And in fact, we are not going to tell them that this is a model ready for you. It will be on the cloud with full scaling processes, with full software architect work. It's already performed, in fact. And it will be with sharing. That means if the cost of the X-ray is, for example, as I told you, it's $10, make it $12 and $2 just to make the diagnosis of the COVID. Still, it's for us, it's enough. According to, for example, in UAE, we have 4 million. How to make the money? I'm telling you how to make the money, but at the end, it will not go like this. Okay, we have 4 million tests happened in UAE. So just, and this is with the high cost of the test. When it's cheaper, I think more than this. This is the first for the COVID model. For the diviner, okay, just right now, we have one friend, I told you, Motaz, he's working on the health insurance sector. He can understand how much the hospitals will pay for such a model, to tell them for each and every activity, either it will be going to be paid or not, and then the doctor will be responsible to modify it before discharge the patient. This is something, and in fact, this is the idea itself. It was used using the data mining, not using the, let's say, the deep learning or something similar. It was already there, but it was the problem with that model. It was using pair-to-pair. That means this diagnosis with this procedure, it might have a conflict. So at the end, they will run the model. For example, in case of we have 3 diagnoses with 3 procedures, 9 times until get the 4 results. Right now, we are going to tell them with 1 shot, you are going to get the full result. So it's faster, and also the cost of that model, which is Nginx, it's not cheap, it's very high. So this is how to make money from these models. I hope this is not secret, it's something already there. Dragos, there's another question by Abida Vigi, which is he already or she already asked me a question. So, okay, please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, hi. So just for like some context, so I started learning machine learning and deep learning. I took both those courses on Coursera, and I'm taking AI for medicine right now. And I'm just really interested in learning about, I want to like make an impact in the field. So I was just wondering, so what kind of, which areas or subfields within like healthcare or just like in general, do you think like AI can help, but like it really hasn't yet?
Okay, my answer, it will be clear. It will help. Okay, but if you ask, for example, medical doctor, he will think, no, it will not help, and it's very early for the AI to help on the healthcare sector. I can see something, it will appear soon on the world, that the need for the medical prognosis, it will be the first boom for the AI in medicine. Because first, it's not touching let's say, the daily routine. That's not like the medical diagnosis. medical diagnosis, we used to ask the experts. So it's not easy for them to understand that the machine will tell you either you have this disease or not. For the prognosis, no, it will help, and it will be soon after maybe the pandemic is finished. Within 1 year or 2 years, you can find there is a lot of ask for AI engineer who's specialized in AI for medical prognosis. So in fact, this is very important. And the other important field, which is you are unable to find it on the specialization, but in fact, it's already there in the world, and they are start to work on it. It's using AI for drug discovery and drug enhancement. Also, this process right now, the whole world, they understand that this is a need right now. Right now, all of us, even my son, start looking for a drug for the COVID. So in fact, if we have kind of machine that will help us to predict which formula, for example, it will be more promising, or another processes, I'm not at the end, I'm not a physician, it will be good. So I think these two fields, it will be boom very soon. So yes, focusing on this, it will help. And you can go there for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have a question from...
Ghaith, you muted yourself by mistake, I think.
Sorry. May Chin, what is the process to get the COVID model regulator approval, FDA and CE? I think FDA it's in USA, CE it's in Europe, working in Europe. I'm in UAE. I'm not in Europe, I'm not in USA. I think maybe Dragos can help us on this, but I have one comment on that. FDA right now start studying how to create regulations just to deal with the software as a diagnostic model or as diagnostic machine or diagnostic tool. The last month they start to create this regulation. They didn't mention it yet. They didn't make the announcement for it yet. Sorry, the study is making the announcement, but they didn't finalize it yet. So soon we will find what kind of terms it will be there. So until now, according to my knowledge, FDA, it's not closing this topic 100%. And they need to close it because I in touch with some great comments, Siemens, Healthineers, and Bayer, and they are trying to work on this, especially for imaging, for radiography imaging. So they need to finalize these regulators and give this kind of accreditation for the people. Sarah, I have a question. Okay, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, hi, and thanks for your insightful presentation. I have a question. I came from the engineering background, and I'm very interested in this kind of medical machine learning models. But my question is that since I don't have any experience or knowledge about medical stuff, is it possible for me to do this kind of project? Because I can't engineer any features for the model, or I don't know what happened in the model. Is it a good result or not? I just can't compare classifications. Is it 0 or 1? Is it COVID or not? Just that. And so I want to know that the people who came from the engineering field, that is it possible for them to do this kind of projects or not?
Sarah, from engineering, from which kind of engineering?
Power engineering, electrical power engineering.
So, I cannot tell you you cannot, but if you have great, if you have good background about the deep learning processes and the machine learning processes, you are able to go there, to go for AI for this. This is the only thing that you need. So if you are there already, you have this background, I suggest there's 2 places. Since I'm coming from deep learning AI, I can suggest to you, for example, to go for the AI for medicine specialization. It's very simplified. We have very great mentors group, not me. I'm the laziest one of the mentors, but the other, they are very active and they are really the best. And also there is new ideas coming from that community, which is the project. Right now, we are suggesting, there is suggestion just to add a project over the specialization itself, which is, for example, one of the mentors, just like what I did right now, I will be with the audience just to tell them that we have this project, we are going to work on it for 1 or 2 hours together and to finalize it in this 1 or 2 hours. So quick projects, small projects related to the AI for medicine, it will be there, so it will be in touch on the practical work. I think this will start on the next month, in August, or until we have a good, let's say, stack of projects ready. I'm already registered for one project, which is the Deviner. I just tell you about it right now. And there's also other mentors is registering. So this is the one place to go there. The other place, which is just to be fair with you, you can go for Udacity. Udacity, they have a nano degree related to the AI for medicine. And in fact, that one, as the topic, it's wider than our specialization on Coursera. But our specialization, I told you, the good thing, it's the other part of the community itself. The community is very active. We have a lot of new ideas coming. So from that point of view, yes, our community will be more practical. But in fact, the Udacity, the topic itself, they are discussing, they speak about it more. They have 5 courses related to that. And there is some ideas, it's not mentioned in our specialization, just like the medical coding and how to collect information from medical coding, which is right now I spoke about it, but it's not there in the specialization. You cannot find it in the specialization. In Udacity, it's there. Also, how to collect information from wearable devices just like shoes or coats or something. Also, it's there in Udacity. So this is 2 places you can start on it, and there is no background needed unless you have to understand the process of machine learning and deep learning in a very good way.
Thank you. Could you please repeat the name of the course in Udacity?
I think it's AI for healthcare. It's nano degree.
For health.
AI for healthcare.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your response.
Mei Chen, she mentioned, or he mentioned, that I have a follow-up question. Yes, please unmute yourself and feel free.
Thank you so much for your very informative presentation. I'm just really curious about what are the regulatory approval loopholes that you have to go through to get this into hospitals. Are you currently in the clinical trials phase? And what are, I guess where you are, what are the regulatory situation like?
For my personal research, for example, for my personal product?
For the COVID model or any other models that you got. Yeah.
Okay. For the COVID, in fact, here in UAE, it was the first time it's suggested to have a product. They are start with some researchers, even here in UAE, with multiple universities, just to create research paper with some announcement that we have this and this. But they didn't, they are surprised that I suggest to them that I have a product and we are able to use it. But for sure, I have some limitation because the data set that I use, I'm unable to trust 100%. It's the public data set. You can find it on multiple places, on Kaggle, for example, or other websites, platforms. It will provide this data set. So I tell them I need more data set and to retrain the model, to test it, and then I will be ready for the to be used in the hospitals. There is 2 things here. Either you are going to tell them, no, I want to use it as a diagnostic model, a diagnostic tool. In this case, they are unable to deal with it. They are unable to tell you that, okay, I will give you the accreditation for that. Until now, especially here, I'm talking about UAE. But as advisory or advisor, extra, let's say, extra suggestion for the clinician, it will be helpful. So, and this one, for sure, with all the terms of condition of use, this and that time, they will accept the usage of this model. So until now, where I reach to the point that just finalizing the approval about the size of the data set that I want. When I got the data set, we just going to retrain the model, fine tune it more, and then with the final results to make more tests with some public hospitals. One of them is Rashid Hospital here in Dubai, and another hospital also public hospital in Dubai, not as a diagnostic model, just as a kind of testing. And after a while of testing, we will find a way at that time what kind of regulators will happen. From me myself, until now, I didn't reach to that point because I understand that even the FDA, it's not ready 100% to accept software as a diagnostic tool. So I'm not expecting Dubai to do it right now. But I already, and also there is another thing, there is one platform, I think it's performed by NVIDIA. I will provide Dragos with this information also later. Because the Artears, I think Artears is the name of the platform. You are able to publish your model with them, and it will be tested with a huge number of clinicians all over the world. And the model, especially if it's related to the radiography technologies, just like CT scan or X-ray. It's not related to COVID only, any kind of disease. So you can publish there, and it will be tested with many clinicians. The feedback will come to you. In fact, this is a very great idea. I just filled the form for just publishing my model yesterday. There's right now around 35 models from all over the world working on this platform. And I think this is also another place that will make kind of push, or will be as a lobbyist, just to tell the regulators that we need this kind of regulations to let us walk and help.
Thank you for that. We're also in the similar boat. I was working on diabetic retinopathy, and there is a predecessor that's done a multi-centered study to evaluate its efficacy. So in order to overtake them, I need to do the same 10-center, multi-center study.
Okay, thank you for the question. Any other question?
We also have a hand raised. I don't know if it's by mistake or it was on purpose. Senkat, do you want to ask a question, or you just pressed the button by mistake?
Who's? Sorry. Hand raised, I didn't see it. Sorry. Okay, we are open to hear that question, please.
Okay, so if not, let's see. Let's give a few seconds if anybody has any other questions.
Oh yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah, that's Sankat. My question was with regards to the gentleman that spoke about training a data set and he needed more samples. That we, I think the speaker mentioned using the GANs algorithms. I was wondering if data augmentation was going to suffice in the problem like this, like in helping to get more samples.
Yes, in fact, the data augmentation, it's already used for my model. Because okay. You can see during the presentation, I told you I have for each one image of X-ray image of COVID case, I have 14 image of non-COVID case.
Okay.
So yeah, the augmentation will be there already. And in fact, there is another speech and another presentation I did it previously. I mentioned what kind of augmentation I used with details.
Okay.
Some of them it's rotating the image, some of just adding the constructor. All of this, I use it already. But even let's say the total data set size, it's 14,000 images for my research. So, and in fact, if you are going to do, let's say, to diagnose more diseases related to the X-ray, not only COVID, you need larger data set for other diseases also. So that's why sometimes you will go to the GANs, but at the end we are trying to make the GANs as kind of data augmentation. So it's not it's just only an idea. And I work on it, but I didn't use the results on the training because let's say I'm not brave enough to do that. So that's why.
Okay. I'm sorry. How do we compare that using all those GANs methods to upsampling and downsampling and all those smooth techniques used in machine learning for unbalanced data set?
I cannot compare it in this way. Let's say until now, Mr. Sankar, until now, what I did with GANs or with a style transfer, just only generating more images. I didn't use it for the training. Okay. But when I run these images to the model, which is trained already, it gives me its diagnosis as COVID. Okay. So that's why it's succeeded. But if you are going to compare to the, let's say the resampling or the upsampling or downsampling, at the end, it's already has its own limitation and its own problems, and you have to work to solve this problem already.
Exactly.
So I think why this style transfer or the GANs models is promising as a process to generate more samples, because maybe it will be if we solve the PS problem already, for example, it will be better than the resampling. This is as intuition, but I didn't try it yet. But why I goes in that way? Because I have intuition, it will help. This is what I can say.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we have one more question for Seema.
Hi. Thank you for this talk. It's really helped me a lot because I was really interested in what's done. I just thought of in the beginning when I thought of medical things, I just thought, yeah, x-rays, it's okay, brain MRIs. Yeah, I always thought of medical image diagnostic things, but there are really very, there's a really wide area in medicals. Some of them I really didn't understand, especially that insurance parts, because I don't have any experience in such things, thanks God. But my question was about that deep learning AI thing in Coursera, which you are also teaching. How much do I need to spend time for that? First one. Second one, I'm really new in such things, so sorry if this question is weird. Is it how to say, does it increase my chance to get an interview from a healthcare company? I mean, is it a reliable thing? Like, sorry if this question is weird, but the time is also important for me.
Okay, I'll start with the first question. About deep learning.ai, there is two specialization we have to speak about it. The first one is the deep learning specialization, which is 5 courses by Dr. Andrew Ng. I don't know if you are asking about this. This one, in fact, it's if you have a background about it, you can finish it, I think, by 2 months if you are not doing anything else. Okay, but it's already built to be done within 6 months. Okay, so this is for this one. For AI for medicine specialization, if you want to go there immediately, if you have good idea about deep learning AI and you are not looking for the certification, for example, AI for medicine, no, you can finalize it in a shorter time because the lectures are short and we have a focus on the segmentation, on the assignment on the assignment, because the assignment is the real work related to that. And also, as I told you, it will be helpful for you to be in the community because there is some project is coming and all of this, it will be extra experience for everybody, for the teacher or the mentor and also for the audience. So this is for the time of study needed for that. The second question is it going to let's say, make your chance better, I'll tell you, it's depending on the level of the healthcare companies. If you are talking about hospitals, let's say normal hospitals, private hospitals, I don't think that you will have a chance with them. Okay, but there is a research center. Just one example, one big example, but you can scale it as you want. For example, Johns Hopkins Hospital, and it has their own university. With this kind of hospitals, for sure you will have better chances. Here in Dubai, for example, we have Rashid Hospital, which is right now I'm in communicating with them for the COVID model. Also, you will raise your chances with them because it's government hospital. They have a special place for the researchers, and they are interested on this. For sure, I think you are coming from Turkey?
Yeah, but I live in the US now.
US, you have, I think, yes, it will raise your chances somehow. Because I will tell you clearly, really, since I become a mentor for this specialization, also I got some interviews from US and from Germany, but I didn't live there. So yes, as an interview, it will raise your chance. But at the end, it's not only the knowledge, it's important for that. So yes, I think, yes, it will help.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, there's maybe one more question if you want, Ghaith, if you want to answer, and then we can wrap up for tonight.
Yes, Bavia. If we don't have machine learning experience yet, yes, exactly. I recommend to go for the deep learning specialization first, because the deep learning specialization is the better landing for this. When you have on the course of AI for medicine, you can find there is a lot of missing points from the knowledge, let's say, of the deep learning, because already the course built on the suggestion that you already there, you finalize the deep learning specialization. It's built like this. So I think it's a must to have a background about deep learning, or you got that specialization, it will be better. And in fact, the deep learning specialization on Coursera, it's very great. It's the best specialization there, I think.
Okay, so this was the last question for the night. We'd like to thank you very much, Ghaith, for the nice presentation and for wonderful answers.